Michael, I just want to say this is I'm so glad you're on here because bringing to light this plasticity issue, because you know what, as I was telling George before the show, the writers of the definitive book on neuroscience, Kindell and Schwartz, one of them won a Nobel Prize in 1990, 19 years ago, proving neuroplasticity. But here it is, 19 years later, and plasticity is still not the model taught in medical schools or chiropractic schools to doctors. And the only reason the only reason I know anything about plasticity is because I have postdoctoral training in neurology. It's still not taught at the schools. Can you believe that?
Well, we can say the same argument for doctors that are not taught nutrition and giving nutritional advice.
Very true.
Because they have a pamphlet in their office that says you should eat like the food pyramid. And I always say if you eat like the food pyramid, you'll look like the food pyramid.
Right, yeah.
And that's just the way that works. So with that said, Michael, let's talk about Dr. Paul Nussbaum, I guess, is a partner of yours in the business?
Yeah, Dr. Nussbaum is my Chief Scientific Officer, and I've been working with for many years.
He has a 5-pillar approach to brain health. Will you just expand upon each one of those as you talk about them?
Yeah, I mean, this is really, I think, kind of bringing it home in terms of how it impacts our, daily life. He has a 5-pillar approach. The first pillar is nutrition, so, eating healthy foods. The second pillar is physical fitness. The third is socialization, so the opposite of isolation, connecting with friends and family. The next one is spirituality, whether that's prayer, yoga, basically inward looking. And then the last one is brain fitness, working your brain in kind of complex and novel forms. So those are the kind of 5-pillar approach he has to a healthy lifestyle.
I've done some research on this. I didn't share this with you, Dr. Webster, during the week, but I did some research, and when you put in Google having a fit brain and looking at all these different sites, like Michael's fitbrains.com, there are some doctors, whether they just want to get their name out and recognized, or they have some validity to what they're saying, that say this is a waste of time, Michael, that someone who goes onto a website like this and plays these games is a waste of time. I'd like for you to add to that or refute that if you can, and then I want to share my experience on your website with what I felt was beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people out there saying that, you can't do something about it. But, I mean, I think whatever area you look at, people always are looking for more and more proof. And there's been, at least over the last 5 years, a significant amount of work in terms of illustrating that through different pilot studies that you can do something to, work the different muscles of your brain and, maintain and stay off, diseases, and it kind of ties into another concept called cognitive reserve, which basically allows you to kind of build up a mental savings account against disease. So there are people out there, but I mean, I think everything is shifting, and I'd say the majority of people are very supportive of the idea of brain training.
I think one of the ways you can do this is just go on and start playing yourself. What's a recommended time per day for someone to get on here and start playing some of these games, Michael?
Yeah, we recommend 3 to 4 times a week. About 10 to 20 minutes each session.
Okay, I was doing it every day for like 10, 15 minutes thinking, okay, well, this is what I need. And I'll tell you what, my experience has been problem solving was different. It was faster. I felt more sharp, more acute after about a week and a half of doing it. And then I didn't do it again after that just because I had so many other things going on. It wasn't my priority, but I wanted to test it out. And I really thought, I don't want to say I felt different, I'm sure I did, but I thought differently. Not the same, it's hard to explain, but I did gain some benefit from it, and I really liked it. I know that I remembered my dreams a little bit more, and I don't know if it affects you, how long it affects you for after you've played these games, but it really did affect me.
Were you doing the games at night?
There's two sides to it. I mean, I think there's, a self-assessment side to it. I mean, we're conducting pilots on what we do, and the feedback we're getting from people, just their self-assessment in terms of how they feel about, their memory and their problem solving, they see significant improvements. So you have both, more the quantitative side of it, but you also have how people feel, which is equally as important.
Michael, I saw something on your website. Since I'm a member on your website, I got an email. Says, hello, community member. FitBrains is looking for people interested in participating in a pilot study of FitBrains platform. Why don't you share what that's about with the listeners in case they want to sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was kind of what I was alluding to. We've done it before, and what we're doing is reaching out to our community and asking people who want to participate. We are going to be doing an 8-week pilot study. There will be an assessment taking pre-FitBrains and then a post after the 8 weeks, and then there will be a self-assessment as well so that we do get how people are feeling, but we'll also have some data to look at as well in terms of the more quantitative side of it.
So do people just go to fitbrains.com and sign up to be part of that study, or how do they do it?
Yeah, there's a link on our site that they can go and sign up, and then we'll get back in touch with them.
Okay. I was just typing that in Twitter. For all of you who are following me on Twitter, you can see some of the things that I've been typing with today's show. Today's show, Michael Cole is here talking about how to change your brain, basically, not only through nutrition and physical fitness and socialization and spirituality, but through stimulating your brain with some of these exercises. Let's talk about some of the brain exercises that you have on there. My favorite one was making the smoothie. You go on the fitbrains.com, and there's more than 30 games that you have that you say works five major muscle groups of the brain. Is that true? You have muscle groups of the brain?
Yeah, we break it into 5 kind of muscle groups. I mean, for people to understand, just like kind of back, arm, legs. You know, we've got memory, language, logic, visual skills, and concentration. But what we've done is actually gone one step further, and we've identified more than 30 submuscle groups that need to be stimulated. So those are the kind of key areas that we're working on.
But it's not really called muscle group. It's just a lay way to understand it, correct?
Exactly.
All right, so I'm making the smoothie. And if you go on to fitbrains.com and you start making this smoothie, you have to direct arrows that take it from the part where I guess it starts processing the fruit into the container. And if you miss the container, you've basically failed. Sounds easy. Get to level 4 and 5 and watch yourself start to flip out. And the part that started getting me all pissed was I couldn't figure it out in time because you're timed.
Yeah.
And and then you got to start all over. So it does get very, very challenging. It's got these nice colors. It looks like a cartoon. It looks like it's for kids. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have games. What we try to do is theme our games in kind of fun and engaging ways. We want people to be excited about brain workouts, so we try to theme them in great ways. You know, as you said, we have a game that's called Wonder Juice Machine. We could have chose, milkshakes or sundaes, but we actually chose to build, fruit juices and smoothies, and you're basically solving different puzzles, and they scaled. You start at a certain level, and as you get better, it scales to and personalizes to your skill level. One
of the things I like on there also, Michael, that the reason I wanted to have you on is because you are forced, before you play this game, to look at 2 or 3 sentences that shares information about fiber or fat, the importance of these things, and you read about, the fiber that's in apples is good for you, and this is the reason, and then you hit continue. You have to read that before you go on playing each new game, and I really like that you guys did that, and I want to see that expanded.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for us. We really want to, as I mentioned, the 5 pillars of Dr. Nussbaum's kind of lifestyle approach. We really want to break that into kind of bite-sized pieces. So each level, while you're playing the game and having a great time, we want to provide a little bit of information as you're going through the game about omega-3s, different pieces of information that will really be useful for you, but it's kind of broken down into little bite sizes.
All right, so coming up next, I want you to share with people what they can do. Let's break it down, if you will, on a smaller level or a different direction when we talk about the brain, how we can benefit the brain and people playing these games in another direction if you have that in you. We'll talk with Michael Cole, CEO of FitBrains.com, and also Dr. Jeremy Webster again. Coming up next, 7:20.